Hey everybody, it's Stacia Kennedy and welcome to the Affiliate Marketing Influencer Podcast with your hostess, Stacia Kennedy. And I'm so excited, you guys. I have the Greg Jeffries, who actually has helped me catapult my SEO skills, because that's what it's all about, you guys. You got to get your skills. And I'm excited to have him. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about you. Actually, a lot of people I don't think a lot of people actually would know you unless they've watched some of the interviews that you've been on or the ClickFunnels podcast. That's where actually I think I came across your information, but you actually are kind of more behind the scenes. There's not really much information about you out there. Tell us a little bit about you.
How far back do you want me to go?
Where did you get started before? How did you get into SEO?
I'll kind of go way back and then kind of try to bring you up to speed. So how I got started in like the just internet marketing world was way back in like 5th grade. My friend, I didn't even have internet, but he had access to it. And he introduced me to like HTML and building websites by hand. And so he gave me this little website magazine. They probably still exist, but it was, some kind of website magazine, but this was a special issue that was about like, here's a handful of HTML commands, and like, here's like a special tutorial issue on how to build your own website. And so he gave me this magazine, and I went home and like studied it cover to cover. And it was just basic stuff of like, this is the structure of HTML. This is what the body is. This is how to customize the title. This is how to change colors and link to different pages. And we started building websites, just using what we had learned to build free websites on places like GeoCities and crosswinds.net and Angelfire, and just any place that would give us a free website, which were just long, ridiculous names. But, we felt, we had a website, a real website that if you could type in this, 200 character URL, then you could find our little website that we put together. So that's where I got started. And then from there, probably I think junior high, I convinced my mom to get me a copy of Front Page Express. I don't know if you remember that. That was kind of Dreamweaver was around during that time. But my friend Foster, who had introduced me to HTML, he had that. That's how he was kind of building these websites. And so he'd build them in Front Page and then like export them and upload them to whatever place would give us these free hosting and stuff. And it also, Front Page had this little image program called Image Composers. It was kind of like a watered down version of Photoshop. So I really wanted it for this image program because you could only get it with Front Page. It was something that came bundled with it. And this was like I don't know how much it was retail, but my mom worked at a university, so she got a discount, and I think we paid like $120 for it. And my mom was the more progressive of my parents. And so she was all, very supportive of things I wanted to do with like technology and stuff. So I had like a really old computer, but this Front Page Express could run on it, and I could just, dabble with the HTML and web page stuff at home, again, without having the internet. So I had to just like build stuff. I couldn't do anything like Java related because I didn't have internet. So I just had to build these, whatever I could come up with in Front Page. And again, just kind of like practice what I'd learned from these books and stuff. And my dad was pretty upset because he was like, he couldn't understand why you would spend over, $100 on a CD-ROM. He was like, this isn't like, oh, I got it for my birthday. And he was like, what is this? Why would you want this for your birthday? And it's like, it's not a toy. It's not a Game Boy or anything like that. Like, it seemed useless to him. And then so like, yeah, that kind of got me started. And, before I knew what internet marketing was and how to make money, that was just an interesting HTML, building websites was just something fun for me. But I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't somebody that could just whip up these amazing designs. It was just something I was tinkering with. And then after I graduated high school, I guess I was always entrepreneurial. I just didn't know that I could make money by myself, without a job. And just because I was always pushed to go to school and then get a job. So I didn't really have anybody to mentor me and show me that I could make money independently, without a job or anything. And so I had experimented with different business opportunities and little high yield investment programs, which are pretty much all scams. Lost a lot of money. Lost money with Alibaba back in the day, from like sketchy vendors. That's why. So like now it's funny to me that Alibaba is like a trusted marketplace, because I lost thousands of dollars from these, scam vendors back then, which I guess they didn't vet too well, which now, they have probably some sort of a rating. Back then, I don't think they did. So I just sent money for these cheap laptops, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to get these like, $3,000 Dell laptops for $300. And I was thinking correctly. I was like, oh, I can get these cheap over here, and then I'll get them shipped to me, and then I'll flip them on eBay. If I could just sell them for 50% of the, what they're actually going for over here, I can make a lot of money. And I just lost all that money because, that was all sent through Western Union. I don't really trust Western Union anymore. That's like sketchy, because there's no, you don't have any insurance on your money. You just wire somebody money, they pick it up, and you never get your stuff. So that I lost thousands of dollars, just through various little scams and things that I wanted to work out, but just learning the ropes, been paying my dues, and in 2007, I finally set up my first website, which was called niftylinks.net. It was before I discovered StumbleUpon. It was kind of, Nifty Links was my way of putting together all the bookmarks that I'd saved up until that point. So I didn't know what StumbleUpon was. I didn't discover that till college. And there wasn't, even back then in 2007, the search engines existed, but they didn't do the greatest job of organizing the information on the internet. And any website you came across, you better bookmark it, because you're literally never going to come across that website again if it's a specific page. And so I had all these thousands of bookmarks. And so Nifty Links was my attempt at, was my first website. So that I never knew how to buy a domain. That's why we always went the free route. I didn't know where to even go. I didn't know what a domain registrar was. So that was when I discovered, oh, I can buy a domain, and they're not very expensive. And so, but I didn't, I think WordPress was around then, but it was just starting out. And I was just like, I'm just going to set up everything with like HTML. It's like a pain in the butt, but I basically tried to create my own version of a blog without a blogging platform. It was very tedious and time consuming. And again, this is just a website to kind of curate all the best tools and websites I'd collected for, since I learned about the internet. So, and that's one of the things I guess I could say is one of my strengths. I don't, consider myself a marketer and not so much a salesman, but I'm definitely a content curator and somebody that likes to put together information. So, I have a course. I've created lots of courses over the years. I got good at organizing information. So, I don't know if people would consider me a good teacher or not, but I like to organize information. I liked puzzles and things like that growing up. So I try to find all the best resources and just organize them into a logical order. mostly just as a blueprint for myself, but then like, if it can help me, it can probably help someone else. So, yeah, that was my first attempt at, websites. I don't have that anymore, but I'm sure you can find it on the Wayback Machine and see what I shared there. It wasn't very big, but, and then from there, it's like I segued into trying to actually make money online. My first attempts at that were just making just pennies, doing surveys and clicking emails and things like that. And that actually did make me a couple $100 a year, but that was in college. Any money was good money back then, because it was just all free side hustle money. Again, I tiptoed into this, and it took me a long time to get to where I'm at, because I just had to convince myself that I could make a full-time income doing this. Like, it was always just hobby money. Like just, mowing lawns in the summer or something. It was just like, oh, cool, I made $100. Like, I'm going to go get a pizza or something. It wasn't real. It was because, the people that are probably younger than 20 or something, they grew up with all this stuff, but we saw I feel like I was one of the last generations that like played outside. We have physical toys today, but like back then we had Nerf guns and super soakers, and we played outside, and like we kind of lived through the transition of like, yeah, we had Game Boys and stuff too, but it was kind of a 50-50-ish balance. Kids weren't spending all day inside like they do now.
Yeah, I was looking at some old pictures, and I was, I was obsessed too with like Nintendo and all that stuff, but I still wasn't on there like they are now, like all the time, 24/7.
Yeah. So it was, yeah. And then 2000, so I went to college, pushed through, graduated from there. And then in 2010 is when I'm from Mississippi. I moved out here in 2010, graduated college in 2009, and just kind of drove out here to Austin. Didn't really have a plan. I didn't have a job or anything. I just had enough savings to last me like 3 months, so I could get like a very, very short apartment lease. And that sounded like a good idea to me. I thought I could do that. That's probably a really stupid idea, looking back, but I packed up whatever I could fit in my car. So like for a bed, it was just a blow up mattress, because I obviously didn't bring a U-Haul or anything like that. And so I just had a chair, a blow up mattress, a couple of clothes. And then, I couldn't fit a desk in my car. So I went to Home Depot and got some, or the hinges or something, and just a board, and I just screwed it to the wall, and that was my desk, and it was just big enough to fit my laptop on. And that was when I came out to Austin, there was a pretty cool Wi-Fi service called Clear, which I think
I had Clear. Yeah.
It was only a couple cities, because it was like wireless. It was really cool. So you just got the box, and I didn't. And luckily, Austin was one of the cities that had it, and it was like $50 a month. I didn't have to plug in anything to the wall except for power. And yeah, that's how I got started. And I think they got bought by Sprint or something.
Yeah, I think it was.
It just sort of went away. But that was a really cool service. But yeah, when I came out here, one of the reasons I moved out here, and I'm still out here, so I guess that plan worked. So that was cool.
So was that after high school, or like?
I was after college, so 2010. So I just, again, I came out here. I probably only had like $1,500 or $2,000 in the bank, and I had one credit card that I think had like $1,500 on it, because I didn't know that you could get more credit or more credit cards. So I just had one, and so that was what I had to start with. And I found an apartment for 3 months, a short-term lease. And then luckily I found a job in the first month or so. So, the rest is history. I just kind of made it work after that, but kind of jumped from freelance to contract jobs. So it wasn't anything special. Not really sure how I paid my expenses, but it happened. So,
And this was what kind of, like, were you still doing websites? What were
yeah, I went to school for design. So it was just random freelance design jobs kind of. And then I kind of, I don't know, on the nights and weekends, since I had all my time to myself outside of the job and I didn't know anybody, I would just kind of spend time on nights and weekends just kind of going down the rabbit hole that most people probably start, is like searching for how to make money online, legitimate ways to make money online, things like that, buying and refunding a lot of ClickBank products. um, and trying to find things for free that were actually good, which is very hard to do. Um, and I, I've just finally discovered that I could get more credit cards. So I had good credit. Always had good credit because even though I wasn't making very much money at all, I've never made more than about $20,000 a year before taxes. So if that puts that into context for anybody, like I had to find something for myself because I just wasn't great at translating my skills into a career or a job for working for someone else. Even though I was like super talented, I couldn't figure out how to navigate the corporate world and move up the corporate ladder. I didn't really have the motivation to do that either. So I was always interested in just the online stuff, but there were no jobs for that, really. There was no school for it either. Now they're sort of starting to come up, but there's no way that they can be as good as what I know, because I have experience, and like, you can't teach experience. So, anyway, so yeah, started making a couple $100 a month. Well, I'll rewind for a sec. So I forget what kind of started making me the initial traction, but I remember I had the thought probably in 2011. And I was like, man, I'd heard about this thing called passive income. I was like, man, I was just trying to wrap my head around the possibility of this. And it's hard to believe things are real if you don't have them yourself. So, back then there was still a lot of mystery to, like, I don't know if this guy on the sales page is telling the truth and whatnot. And they would talk about, people in the videos would talk about, how they were, $50,000 in debt. Now they're a millionaire and they're making all this money. And I was like, I don't even know. I can't wrap my head around how you even get $30,000 in debt, because I don't even know how to get that higher credit limit. So it doesn't make sense. And but I remember thinking the thought, if I could just find a way to make $10 a month, that would be really cool, because that could pay for a pizza, and I would get like a free pizza a month, because there was a Pizza Hut down the street, and I used the same, like, to reward myself every couple of weeks. I would
like pizza.
What?
You love pizza.
Yeah, well, and there was this coupon that if you went to if you did takeout, then it was like $10, and that coupon worked for like 2 years. So every week, or every, once a month, I would go to Pizza Hut as like a way to reward myself for working hard and trying to, figure out this internet game. Yeah, I can't remember what got me originally to over $10, because I remember the reason why I still remember that $10 is I remember thinking the thought, and then I remember it wasn't but a couple months later, I was like, oh, wow, I'm making more than $10 a month. That's cool. So I can't remember the first thing that got me some traction. I know I'd made maybe a couple of $100 from random places in the next couple of months, but I think around 2011 was when I started teaching courses on Udemy. And back then it was, in my opinion, a lot more opportunity, and you can make a lot more money for very little effort back then. So that was the first platform that, or source of income that paid me more, uh, a couple of $100s a month consistently. And I kind of took it for granted. Again, I was still treating it like hobby money, because I was like, oh, I would average like 300, sometimes almost close to $1,000 a month for several months. Um, just after I just got started, this was just with a handful of courses. And for some reason, I just dilly-dallied around for too long. And then now they've changed all the rules and stuff and how much they pay you. But again, I'm the only, I'm not, definitely not the probably smartest person, compared, to some of these people that, I was looking at the time that were 17 and then they made their first million at 21. And like, I met these people, so I know that they're not lying, but that wasn't my story. I was just kind of dragging my feet because I couldn't, for some reason, put two and two together that, like, if I'm making 300, if I want to make 600, all I got to do is do more of what's already working. Like, I was just taking this money for granted, and I was still looking for like the secret to making money online in 1,000 other different directions when I already was making money online. All I had to do was do more of that thing. And like, I could have easily went from 300 to 3,000 in a couple of months if I just would have, you know, put in the work. But I was also not very confident. So I was learning myself. I was never somebody that was, I remember in English class one year we had to do a speech, and it was only like 3 minutes. And I had said the word like 60 times in 3 minutes. So yeah, I wasn't very confident in front of people. So teaching courses was a very slow, you know, thing for me to get confident in, because I wasn't, first off, I wasn't great. I wasn't very confident in my ability to teach or to speak on camera. It's weird hearing your own voice when you haven't before. So just getting comfortable hearing your voice in a recording, like, it's not weird for me to talk to you right now, but hearing my voice in a recording, it took me a while to like train my ear to be okay with hearing my voice.
I don't like listening to myself either.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I didn't know that much about making money online. So I didn't feel capable of teaching too much. So I didn't have a lot that I felt like I could contribute. So a lot of different factors, things that were going on. But
yeah, but so we were talking earlier, you don't make more, I mean, you make pretty good money with teaching, but you're more passionate about, creating your own wealth through your own, own sites and creating your own commissions.
Yeah.
You probably make way more than on your own than actually teaching. I know a lot of people think that a lot of the gurus make more money teaching than doing.
Some do, because they're better at selling, and that's great. That can make you a lot of money, and I enjoy helping people. But the thing that goes along with helping people, and you got a couple hundred or a couple thousand students, is now they've all got questions. They want help, they want support, and that takes time. That holds you back. And so if I don't have any of those distractions, then I can just move forward at 100% with all the things that I know and I'm learning. And I can't teach things as fast as I learn them. So you have to make a decision of, do I want to teach this or do I want to execute this? And I'm definitely not going to teach the same things that I am now learning as I'm learning them. That would be like shooting myself in the foot. Like, I'll give you what I'm doing, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm doing, the exact keywords, the exact product. Like, I mean, people know that I promote ClickFunnels as one of my tools. I teach them how I promoted it, but I'm not going to give you all of my titles and descriptions and stuff and say, here, go use the exact same information. Like, I don't, really believe I have more of an abundance mindset now. So I'm not so much worried about competition because I can always go make more money. Even if, the ClickFunnels terms get, quote, saturated, which they clearly aren't, because I have videos that I made from 2 years ago. They're still all over YouTube. So they're not saturated, but I just don't like the idea of, like, here's what I did. And the sloppy people or the inexperienced people, they go out and literally copy me. I don't care if you model me, but I don't like to see people that have stolen my videos and stuff. It's just not very cool. So
yeah, I mean,
I did transition from Udemy to videos first. That was like my first foray into like SEO. Because I don't know really why I did it. I think a little bit had to do with, even though I know how to make a website, and by that time I think I'd messed around with WordPress, this fear that was instilled in us by other marketers was like that Google was this big scary machine. It was like all these algorithms and they're out to get you. And so I wasn't confident in all the different things to optimize in order to get content ranked from a website. But video, I guess I could see the opportunity there with it was more engaging and there weren't as many dials to turn. It was literally only like title, description, and tags. And then if you had a good video, it seemed to get traction. So you could get exposure quicker than a website. And it was basically free if you had, as long as you had some screen recording software. Like I didn't have to invest in hosting and domains and all these tools. And I didn't have any money anyway. So I went that route and I put in a lot of work, made thousands of videos, didn't make a lot of money, made some money from promoting different affiliate products, which I guess that can kind of tie into ClickFunnels. A lot of people know me from ClickFunnels. So one of the, as I was making videos, this was probably like 2011, 2012 or something. I've gotten both those channels suspended, which I kind of have a love-hate relationship with YouTube because I put in all these hundreds of hours, literally thousands of videos that I recorded and uploaded, and then they just can push a button and suspend you. So that's not cool. But that was what got me my initial traction with ClickFunnels. I was making these videos, and the reason what got my attention was in 2015, I think, was when I first started finally recording how much I was making, which I just recommend you should do that like now. Everybody should start doing that. Otherwise, you don't have anything to hold you accountable. So I started recording my income in just a simple Google Doc spreadsheet, which I still use today. So each year has a different tab for the year, just so I could kind of tally up what I was making, so I could, know, do I need to work harder this month, or can I just kind of coast a little bit based on what my goals were? And I was signed up for ClickFunnels as soon as they came out. Nobody at that time thought that they were going to be around as long as they have been, because it's just another tool. Russell Brunson was selling products on ClickBank before.
yeah.
ClickFunnels. So like, it's just another tool. It's probably not going to last very long. And so I think I made some videos, maybe a couple blog posts, and then just sort of left it. But since I was keeping up with my income, I noticed a couple months into it, and they were recurring, which I didn't promote really many things that were recurring at that time. I noticed that I was making about $300 or so a month. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's more than $10. That's a good amount. And it seems to be every month because people renew. And it finally clicked and dawned on me that, hey, maybe if I, spend more effort promoting this product, I'll make more money. It's very simple, but
So you got focused on one product,
yeah.
and you were still working at the time, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that transition?
Yeah, well, before ClickFunnels, so this was probably what 2000, fall 2014, I think is when they launched. But 2012, I had attempted to work for myself because I was thinking right with Udemy, it was making some money. So I said, well, I only had the time to make a course on the nights and weekends. So on Friday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would make one course a week. And so Friday,
Wow, one course a week. And was
yes,
these SEO type courses or what kind of
it
course?
was whatever I could think to teach. So it wasn't SEO because I didn't know SEO back then. So I would come, and I had a process that I created to be able to crank those out. But it was only like an hour course, but it took the whole weekend. So Friday night, I'd come home from work, I'd like make myself a good meal because I'd be working all night, probably pizza. But then I later found out that pizza makes me sleepy. So it tasted good, but then I get really sleepy. But I would come home Friday night, eat, and then plan out the course. So I'd bullet point out the direction. That would be my goal for Friday. Saturday, I would record all the videos. And then Sunday, since this took a little while, I would export them and then upload them and then publish the course. And so for several weeks, for a couple months, I was publishing a new course a week. And then I was like, man, I need more time. I need more time to scale. So the only way I can think to do that is to quit my job or my freelance stuff. And so I took out this massive loan and from a place called prosper.com because yeah, yeah, I could get like 15 grand and that's what I did.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I heard of that one.
it was cash. It wasn't a credit card.
Yeah,
So it was
like
in my bank
personal
account.
loan.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was in my bank account in a couple of days. And so I did that. And I was thinking, right, I was like, oh, I'll make more courses. And by the time I run out of money with the loan, I should have built up enough cash flow to pay back the monthly note on it. But I didn't have, since I never worked for myself, I didn't have the discipline to stay focused. So I just blew all that money in a couple of months on, live events and hiring multiple high ticket coaches. But one was good, one was a bad experience. And so probably in like less than 6 months, I had to go back to a job and now had debt that I had to pay back because I was still just making a little money. I didn't do what I said I was going to do because I'd planned it out. I was like, this will give me I took out a loan for living expenses, which is not what I recommend. But, I'd planned it out. I thought it made sense on paper, but I just didn't stick to the plan.
Mm.
Because I just, now that I had all my time, I was like, oh, I'll just work whenever. No, you can't do that. You got to create a schedule. And so I failed the first time. Um, uh, the second time was in December of 2016. So I've been working for myself ever since because that time I was like, I'm never going back to a job. I'm going to force myself to be disciplined this time. Yeah. With ClickFunnels, though, I remember, I think it was the spring of 2015 was when I saw that I was making a couple of hundred a month. Definitely wouldn't recommend quitting your job until you have something. Like
Right.
even the second time I quit my job, I wasn't making enough money yet to really justify quitting, but I was almost there. And I knew what I had. Things were already working, so I knew what I needed to scale up in order to fill that gap. Because I wasn't getting paid much at all at my job, but the only difference I had to make up was like $1,200 a month. So if I could just, in the next 90 days, come up with a way to make an extra 1,200, I would never have to go back to that job.
Right.
And I did. So I knew what to focus on. So I think this is a cool little story. So I think it was 2015. I hadn't read Grant Cardone's 10X rule. I still haven't, but I've listened to the audiobook. But and so I saw what I was making with ClickFunnels, and I told myself, well, if I work really hard, maybe in a year, I can add another zero to this. Maybe it can be $3,000 a month. And I did that. And I did that with, definitely didn't work at it for a year. I only probably spent a month worth of effort, but that produced, I created the videos, a couple hundred videos in that time. And then that laid the groundwork to like, build the commissions from 300 to 3,000. So, I mean, just imagine if I had focused on that one thing and never given up, especially to this day, I'd be making a lot of money. Anyone
So
would.
that's what's been working for you. And it actually has been something that I've noticed has been working for me is more videos. And so like, is that where you would suggest someone, who's new to start as a traffic source?
It's a good one. I mean, more content. It can be blog posts or videos. You're going to have a little bit more control with websites over what the traffic, what to do with that traffic. Because YouTube, there's a lot of distractions with other videos, recommended videos in the sidebar and stuff. But there are a lot of advantages to YouTube. It's more engaging. It's a higher barrier to entry. So most people are probably like me. When I got started, they're terrified to video. And so that's a huge opportunity for people that aren't. And then there's the technical hurdle. Some people are like, well, I'm very confident, but I don't really know how to, record anything with ScreenFlow or Camtasia. So, you can feel bad about those people if you want, but that's just a massive opportunity for folks like you and me that have the resources and the know-how and equipment and all that stuff. Can't worry about everybody else all the time. You got to take care of yourself first if you want to be able to take care of other people. So, use that to your advantage. It's a huge, advantage, and you can leverage that. So same. Yeah.
So get skills is what you're saying is, yeah. I mean, I just got an email today, like actually a Facebook messenger, like I have no money and how do I get started? Like, I'm like, you got to get skills. Most people have a phone, like you have really all the resources. You need to be resourceful.
Yeah. It's,
you get that question a lot.
Not personally any that much anymore, but yeah, it comes in a lot of different forms. But the obvious answer to that is go get a job. It's not what people want to hear, but go get money. If you can't come up with a way to make money, then go work for someone else. I know you don't want to hear that, but solve that problem and pay down your debt, and you've got to have a budget somehow. Like, there are free things online, like YouTube is free, but you have to have an internet connection. You have to have a computer of some sort so those cost money. Where are you going to get the money for that? You need some sort of a budget or job or cash flow or something. So go get that. Like, this isn't rocket science. Like, figure out, I know it's hard. Like, this is one of the things that held me back, but all of my entrepreneurial friends agree, but I went to public school. They didn't teach us how to think. They taught us how to memorize stuff. And that was a major, set you up for massive failure in the real world, because it taught you how to follow instructions and, memorize stuff. And you need to be a problem solver, especially when you're working for yourself, because you need to figure out how to solve your own problems. There isn't a rule, a textbook for life. And it's like, these are all the answers to the test. Good luck, just memorize them. No, every situation, every person's life's unique. You're going to have different problems than I have in my business. I'm sure we have a lot in common, and we can, help each other out. But you're going to have unique challenges that I'll never face, and vice versa. So you need to learn how to, train your brain to think, quickly on your feet and solve those problems, because, you have to figure out a lot of this stuff yourself. There are, there may be things that you can't answer for me. So I have to find someone that can. So where do you find that? I don't know. You got to figure it out. Uh, so, that, and I guess that all kind of ties into SEO when you don't, Facebook's great for interruption marketing and stuff to get people's attention. But where do people go when they don't know something? They go to a search engine, they type in a question, they find one of my pages, and then I sell them something. So, that's where we go when we have questions and we don't have a relationship with somebody that can answer that. We go to the internet, usually try to find it on YouTube or a website. So yeah, just figure it out. Stop complaining about what you don't have and stuff like it. I hate even addressing those kinds of questions because I can talk about it for days and we'll get nowhere because you just have to
mindset.
Yeah, you just have to figure it out. Like the one thing I can't give to anybody that takes my course is I can't really give you experience. I can just give you information and try to provide some context to that information. But I can't, and I can, but I'm definitely not going to come to your house and push buttons for you. I'm not going to do the work for you. I'll tell you what to do, but I'm not going to do it for you. I'm sorry. But, I know there are some done for you services out there, but you're going to learn a lot by doing it yourself. And there's some things that you can only learn. There's answers that you're only going to discover by doing it. There's things I can't teach because the only way I learned them is because I actually took action. And
through that action, you find the questions because you probably won't have the questions to even ask if you don't go through it yourself.
That was a big thing for me. So one of the reasons why it took me so long to get to where I'm at now is because, I didn't have a lot of money. I had the time, but I didn't even know the questions to ask to get the answers I was looking for. So I just had to kind of get in the trenches and, some of the things that I teach, some things, if I was lucky, maybe I got the answer in a day. More often than not, it took me weeks. It took me months. Some answers I didn't find until 5 years later. And now I just put it all together. So like this year has been, answers seem to be coming quicker. The more people that you align yourself, they're all kind of on the same caliber. It seemed to, answers and great solutions seem to be coming my way like every single day now. But that took a lot of time to engineer and build that network of people. So yeah, it was very frustrating because, and I had to just build in that, mindset and habit of just discipline, like extreme discipline, extreme patience, because I don't, you could be really smart. You could have a lot of relationships. And even with all those resources, you may not find the answer today. I don't care how much money you have. So you just have to be patient and you got to find something else to work on while you figure out that answer, because you just may not get it today. And you got to deal with that. I'm developing softwares and stuff now. Sometimes you may not have a developer to go to. You may get screwed by a bad one. There's a lot of things that can happen, and most entrepreneurs don't talk about that in their sales videos, but we'll talk about it when we go to live meetups of all our frustrations and money we've lost and things like that. But none of this came easy.
Yeah, I see a pattern here is not being afraid to invest in yourself, because you're going to have bad coaches, you're going to have good coaches, but you wouldn't know if you didn't, move forward and keep going and investing in different programs and different types of strategies. And I love that you have to actually go in and take action before you can figure out what questions to even ask and where to move forward.
Yeah, you got to kind of be okay with getting your hands dirty because, unfortunately in school, they've conditioned us that, if you get the answer wrong, you get an F, you fail, this is bad. Well, failure, like the only reason I'm successful is because I failed a ton. It didn't, my journey wasn't like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, perfect straight line. It was just lots of ups and downs, tons of money lost. How did I get it back? I don't really know, but I know I'm making money now and all my debts paid off, but I spent, just like those sales videos that I watched years ago. Now I believe them, whether those were true or not. It's very realistic to get tens of thousands of dollars in debt because I've been there now. So I can relate to that.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yep.
I like that one.
Yeah, just embrace it because it's fun. Like money is not real anyway. It's not backed by anything, and we made it up. So, and we can print as much of it as we want. And so it's not real. And credit is a joke, like I know it's not available, I guess, in every country like it is here in the States, but that's even more nothingness. So like just learn the game and you figure out how to play it. And, you've got all these tools and resources at your disposal, especially if you're in the States like you and me, and you can just engineer your own destiny, paycheck and stuff on mostly with other people's money and using all this leverage at your disposal. Like there's so many resources out there. And I feel like it's way, way easier to make money now than it was when I got started, just because things are faster, they're cheaper, there's more access to everything. We're more connected than ever before. Like answers are everywhere. You just have to kind of dig in and get, and whatever, just have fun with it. Like I just really realized a couple of years ago that, or it kind of clicked for me that, I don't know how long I'm going to live, but all I have on this planet is time. That's numbers finite. So I don't, I just might as well spend it doing something I love. And, I like to do a lot of different things, but I really like marketing. And so I try to work towards building myself a lifestyle that I can just do what I want all day. It's kind of like every day for me at this point is kind of like being a kid, like when you're playing like recess or something. Like every day, all day is recess for me because it is. Yes, I put in effort, but it's not really work. Like the only part of what I do that's frustrating is when I'm trying to figure out a problem and I can't. That's the only stress I have in my life, when I can't find a solution I'm looking for. But the rest of the time, if I know what I'm doing, like if I'm building a website, you just learn to be okay with the information that you have right now. Like you're always going to be learning, and that's cool. You can tweak things over time, but take action with the things you know right now, because otherwise you're never going to know like the perfect thing to do. That was one of the things that, I guess I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I was looking for the perfect solution to optimize a website before I ever even built one, really, again. And when I went to my second live event in 2016, I met some other SEOs that were making way more money than me. But after talking to them, I figured out that they were making more, but I knew more than them. And I was like, man, they were taking more action, because even though they may only have known 10% of what I knew, they were taking 80% action on that 10%. I was taking 10% action on the 120% that I knew. So I was just like tiptoeing. I was making a few videos, and they were making blog posts and lots of videos and stuff, just because they're like, I don't know. They figured out that like the more effort you take, the more money you make. And so I went home from that. That was my big takeaway. And I went home and took a lot more action over the next 90 days, made a lot more than I was making. And you've probably heard this before. At the time, I think I was still working at my last job, and the guy I was working for, that was the only job I'd ever been to a work related like trip or trade show. And he said they've been going to this trade show for several years, and every time they go, they always got a positive ROI. Their business always went up that year. And so one year they were evaluating all their expenses, and it was pretty expensive to go to the trade show. They had a booth and everything, so it's tens of thousands of dollars just to have a small booth there and to fly a handful of people there and hotels and all those expenses. And he said, we figured, oh, we can just cut that expense because we're making plenty of money. We don't need to go. Who else are we going to meet this year? And so they cut that expense for 2 years. Those are the only 2 years that their business went down. And then they started going again, and their business started to go up again. So it's something weird about, live events. Tying this into that second event that I went to, that it was hard for me to kind of get, like I would rather buy 10 $97 products at that time than to spend $1,600 to go to Vegas for a weekend. Because I was like, well, you got the food, you got the flights, you got the hotel. Even if the event is free, like there's all these expenses, and I don't know who I'm going to meet. And, you may not make a positive ROI in 24 hours, but like every single live event I've gone to, I've met a handful of people. I've learned a thing or two that has like quadrupled my investment in that event. So that was a good example of, even early on, my first event or two, just meeting the right people, getting to talk to other people that you knew were crushing it. And like, they're not going to lie to your face at a live event. You can pretty much like corner them and
yeah, and it's great to collab. I met some of my bestest friends from events too, and just connect with people. And
yeah, and that's where you get the real secrets. That's the stuff that I can't share inside courses, not because, again, I'm trying to withhold that because I'm like scared of competition. There's just, the deeper you get into anything, I think, I don't know, my mind naturally goes to more of like a gray hats. Like we're always trying to like straddle the line of, how much money can I make with being like, kind of ethical. I don't want to screw people, but like what's the biggest edge I can have with also being ethical? And like, if I shared that kind of information in a course, people might think of me differently or whatever. But like, this is how you make a lot of money. Some of what I teach is, some of what I do is in the course, but there's other like angles to it that I don't, because it can be abused and stuff, and you don't want to give kind of like risky information to someone who's inexperienced, because they'll mess it up for everybody. There's a lot of experience and context and stuff behind some of the stuff I do, and if you don't have that, then you're not going to use it in the right way. So, but you get that kind of information at live events. You learn those secret resources, those secret people that, the word of mouth is like where a lot of my tools that I like, little secret awesome tools that I've used over the years, that I've never seen advertised anywhere. You can't even Google them and find them. But, this one marketer, that's like his secret weapon, and like he gives it to you, or he'll sell it to you. Those are what really gives you an edge and gets you ahead and over some of those hurdles and things that you're struggling with in your business. So that was one of the things I definitely recommend people is, scrape together the money. It's nice to have a direction, some sort of a direction. So, if you think you're interested in something, maybe buy a couple of courses. And that's another thing. Like, you're never going to learn probably everything that you want to or need to know about a certain topic by like just investing in my course. The reason I haven't created my course, it's a combination of probably 50 other courses that I've consumed, all the best pieces, and I put it into my course. Going to live events is one of the best investments you can make. Even if it's not a great live event, you'll probably learn at that bad live event what are the good ones. And so you can kind of course correct there, and then go to a good one. And then you're going to meet some people, you're going to learn some stuff there that's going to get you a positive ROI. And live events are a good place to figure out which courses and information to take, rather than trying to figure it out from a Facebook ad of like whether this guy that you've never met and don't know is trustworthy. Go to these live events. There's probably a handful of people at those live events that have bought all the products that you're looking at. So just ask them. They're probably familiar with, I meet people at all sorts of live events, not just ClickFunnels, that have bought my course. So like there's probably some of my students at a lot of these these live events. I've met people at mini chat conference that have been in my course, and ClickFunnels and traffic and conversion and stuff. Like they're everywhere. And so and I'm not even really a household name. I don't feel like a Tony Robbins or Russell. So like there's other people out there that have probably bought and gone through the courses that you probably are thinking of. And so they can save you making the investment to go to live events can save you tens of thousands of dollars. Like I know it's maybe kind of scary on the front end because the first two events I went to total, it probably cost me about $3,000 maybe, because plane ticket was expensive, rooms were probably the most expensive. Then you got to throw in meals and Ubers and stuff, and easily $1,500 to $3,000. So it's kind of painful in the front end, but you're almost always going to meet somebody. Like here's a prime example. So last week I was looking to buy a domain, and the domain was taken, but I thought somebody was just sitting on the domain and didn't have anything on it. Well, they kind of were, but they had a page up, but it wasn't an active product. So I clicked around, saw that the person that owned it was someone that I knew. That's another internet marketer that they know who I am, and I met them actually at that second event that I told you about. And I just shot him a quick message on Facebook and said, hey, I was interested in this domain, noticed that you owned it, but you don't have a product live. I don't know how many customers you have or if this is still active, but would you be interested in selling it? He was like, sure. So I bought it from him the next day. So what was that? That was in 2016. So a relationship that I created 3 years ago led to that. And it probably, two things would have happened if I didn't, first of I wouldn't know who to contact. So that would have sucked. And then if I didn't have a relationship with him, he probably either wouldn't have sold it to me or he would have probably charged me 3 times as much.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I got it within 24 hours. I got it for the price I was looking to pay for it. And it happened just like that. That came from a live event. So
awesome. Yeah, I love live events. It makes, like I said, meet some of my bestest friends, collaborate, do stuff, and you get more confidence when you connect with people who talk the same language too.
Yeah.
So this is great. Coaching, investing. You're like me. I'm constantly learning. So would you say that your advice would be to learn? Literally every single day I'm learning something, putting it into action, and I love creating videos and stuff too, so I can teach it to other people.
Yeah. The reason I think when I have more success with the action I take now is because I did wait so long. So while I was waiting to take more action, I was learning. And books are great, courses are great, but
Don't
there
get stuck there.
there comes a time when, well, when enough of your friends are making more money than you, and, and you know that you all started at the same place,
Yeah.
you're like, I gotta stop reading these books. Like, they're all good. I have a whole bookshelf or whatever, a whole stack of books that I would like to read this year, but I'm not in any hurry to read them because at this point I'm reading books like with purpose. Like, I only read the books in the order that I need them.
Mm.
So I'll just buy them and save them until I get around to it. But like, if I don't need that book this week, then I probably need to be working on a webinar or something that's going to be making me money. Because while the information that I learned in the book may make me money later, it's not good. I'm a slow reader, so it's going to take me a long time to read that book. And that's time that I'm not making money. Like, thank God I have passive income, but I'm not going to build more passive income if I'm reading a book. So everybody's got to find that balance for themselves, and you need a direction, because you could be doing a lot of action in a poor direction that's not going to get you any results. So I honestly think the fastest way for you to get results quickly is to either use a credit card or save up the money to go to a live event. If you don't know one, I don't know where this is going to be posted, maybe in your group or community, you can share some suggestions. Funnel Hacking Live is a good one, even if you're not interested in ClickFunnels, because there's a lot of like-minded entrepreneurs that come there.
Oh, yeah.
Traffic and Conversion Summit's another one. I'm just trying to think of big ones where a lot of people show up. But there's also the smaller, more specialized ones. Start there. And I forget where I was kind of going with this, but start there. And to get a direction, and then talk to people. Try to, I was super shy when I went to my first couple, but I had a YouTube channel. The people that I was talking to were other SEOs, so they kind of knew me a little bit, even back then. And that's one good thing about doing videos is while you may only have 10 people that subscribe to your channel, there may be some other people that have seen your face. And, unless you're broadcasting, have a picture of yourself on your blog, somebody luckily randomly came across your blog post and you say, like, this is who wrote it. You don't have that same authority with a blog usually. The blog doesn't really have a lot of personality. People get to know you as a person with video. So go to live events, make the investment, go there. It's going to help you leapfrog your way to success. Meet people and get some recommendations on maybe what you should be doing. And don't, when we were kids, adults used to tell us, like, follow your heart, do what you love or whatever. Do what makes money first and use that cash flow to do what you love. Like, SEO didn't make my money first. It was courses. So I got good at teaching. And then I just sort of segued into video and SEO because videos were working with courses. So that was kind of how I did what made money first. And then I sort of just figured out a way to like it, because again, this is not natural for me talking. This took a lot of years for me to build up the confidence. And again, it was very frustrating for me back then when I heard people in interviews that would say the same thing as I'm saying now. I was like, oh, it's easy for them. And it's not easy. This didn't come natural. I was super shy and stuff. So, do what makes money first, figure that out. And you can figure that out by talking to people at live events and take action on that. And then somewhere along the way, when you are making enough money, you can start to work on the things that you're more passionate about and build it up to a point where you are making your full-time income from the thing that you actually love to do. Like I do that today, but again, there is no roadmap, sadly, for what I do. My parents, for the longest, I was very vague about what I was doing out here because I wasn't making very much money, wasn't making hardly any money with affiliate stuff for years and years and years. And I would just kind of like vaguely vent to them, and they were like, well, you should go get a, better job, a real job with benefits. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. What is it?
I get that.
Nobody described what benefits were, and they just throw it out there like everybody knows what you're talking about. I'm like, what are the benefits I should be looking for? I'm like, benefits is very vague. They didn't cover that in school either. What is a benefit? And some companies have them, some companies don't, and these are better than others. Like, what is a benefit? And I was just like, yeah, I'm working on stuff. I'm working on something. Like, it's going to work out. And eventually, once it did, now they're happy for me. They actually know the name ClickFunnels. My dad's like, how's that ClickFunnels stuff going? Because I bought them a car with my ClickFunnels commission. So they're really happy now. They have a new SUV, and it's awesome.
So you did get a dream car yourself, but you also bought your parents their dream car.
I didn't. I waited for almost a year to use my dream car money because I already had a pretty new car. So I was like, what do I do with that? I don't really want to sell my car for another car, and $500 can't pay the note anyway. And so, yeah, eventually my parents needed a new vehicle. So I was like, well, would y'all like it? And it took me about 2 or 3 months to convince my dad that it wasn't a scam. I'm like, it's free money. And they're like, yeah, but what if it runs out? I'm like, don't worry about it. But now they're happy. And
what did you get them?
Toyota Highlander.
Nice. That's actually my dream car.
Yeah, they needed something a little higher up. So they're pretty happy now. But yeah, you can do, and that's like, this just blows my mind to say this, but like, I'm just making the payments on it. But like, anytime I want, I can just pay it off in a month with what I make now, why that's crazy is I remember having this conversation with a friend a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, it's going to be awesome one day when like we can afford to go into a car dealership and like buy the car in full. Like, and I can do that, or do that in a month, and I can do that now if I wanted to, but there's no reason to pay it off early right now.
So, yeah, I want people to, after watching this video, to realize that it's not a get rich quick thing. You have to, learn and, put in your time to build it up, but it's definitely worth it now that you've built these assets on the internet now and you're creating passive income.
Yeah. And the cool thing about, my favorite thing about what I teach with SEO and affiliate marketing is that it is something that's like a little transferable skill or duplicatable. I can teach it to my parents. I can teach it to you. I can teach it to all the people that want to learn it. And it's going to be like, I call it infinitely scalable. Like, there's so many keywords. There's always new ones. There's always new trends. And like, my competition is really never really going to go up because if we compare this to any other industry, like I just use the example of like an auto mechanic. They generally can make a decent amount of money. You probably know some people that are mechanics. Well, if you were broke and they're making a lot of money, well, why don't you just go be an auto mechanic? They make good money. You want to make money. They make money. You don't have any interest in being an auto mechanic. It's the same reason why people don't, make money online. They're like, oh, computers are difficult. I don't understand the internet. There's a million reasons why you're not going to have any competition. That's why I make more money from doing what I teach than teaching it, because there's so few people that want to do what I'm teaching, but they're searching for stuff on the internet all the time. They're spending billions of dollars every year on iPhones and gadgets on Amazon and whatnot. So like, just selling that, I had to get comfortable. Finally got comfortable a couple of years ago selling things as an affiliate that were not softwares and make money online courses, because there's a lot more money out there for people. Like, you have to realize that the internet marketing, affiliate marketing space, like it's extremely small. Like it's very small and incestuous, and like there's millions more people that need to buy a mattress or shoes or hats or a chair online, and just all that, like, because the kinds of people that are buying those products, they're, especially physical products, they're not like, oh man, I wonder if this chair is a scam. uh, you don't have that. There aren't a lot, as many returns, especially with bigger objects like these mattresses now that have been, really popular and taken off the last couple of years. Yes, they have free return policies and stuff, but do you really want to go through the trouble of returning a mattress? Probably not. So you just keep it, which means you don't have a chargeback,
Yeah.
so there's so much money to make out there. And that's my favorite thing, because when, with all these other different ways to make money online, Facebook, Shopify, whatever, FBA, drop shipping, when some of your friends and family see a little bit of what you do, and more specifically any kind of income screenshots you post, and they reach out to you, like, and they're like, well, what are you doing? Can you teach me what you do? Some of these other ways to make money online, I feel like they're not the best skills that I could just say, oh yeah, you just do what I do and you can sell the same thing I sell. Like, that wouldn't work. And there's a lot of, there are a lot of pieces of the puzzle of SEO, but you don't need to know all of them in the beginning to get results. You can learn them as you go, or you can just learn a little and stick with that, and that's fine. And you can make a full-time income. And like you said, it's, definitely not an overnight get rich quick thing, but you can get to be pretty well off fairly quick. I kind of compare it to, if you compare a 4-year university to something like a trade school, or like, I think it's like hair school or something, or it's like a 9-month intensive program, but you get your degree or certificate, and then you can go out and start, cutting hair or whatever. It's kind of like internet marketing. If you have the right information, and support and stuff, if you give yourself 12 months, or 12 months, it can be like 12 months or less for you to really, really, really learn a lot, pretty much all that you need to know. And some of my students, they by that time they're already making a full-time income. So that, I can't say that for everybody, because everybody's situation is different, but that's a really short amount of time. Like, I went to school for 5 years, 2 years at community college, and 3 years that I transferred and finished up my undergraduate at art school. And to those 5 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuitions and art supplies and stuff and dorms. And, I haven't gotten an ROI on that. Like,
Yeah, I went to the Art Institute of Seattle too. So I feel, $30,000 in debt.
Yeah, and I had a massive scholarship, but it was still expensive.
Yeah.
So,
supplies are not cheap.
no, and you have to, depending on the teacher, you have to get what they want, which is always like the most like, I still have this pencil that costs, I think I got the amount on it, I feel like it was more than $10, but like they wanted this drafting pencil, and I was like, for real, like $10 or something, for $13 for a pencil? Like, I just use a number 2. Like, this is so. Yeah, it's man, if you could just focus and not get distracted by all the hype and Lamborghinis and all the things that other people have. You can get those things if you really want them. Probably in 2 years or less, you can have all those things you want. Even if you are starting with nothing, or like me, yes, I live in America. I had decent credit, but not because I had a lot of money. It's just I paid my bills on time, but I didn't have any savings or anything. So just be resourceful. Use the resources that you have. And like, if, I grew up middle class. I didn't have anything given to me other than like I started out life with no debt. And luckily I had, I left college with no debt because of some scholarships and generous grandparents. But so that helped me, I guess, a little bit. So I didn't have loans. But other than that, like, I haven't had any 6-figure a year jobs. I've never even made more than 20. So that's, if you look up that on the internet, that's below the poverty line. That's where I started.
Yeah.
So don't talk to me about like what you don't have and what you can't do, because it doesn't. I was there and I made it, so anybody can. I've got
Let's talk about focus real quick here. What helps you focus? Right now, I'm interviewing you in your closet. Does that help you focus?
Yes, that's why I'm in here. I live in an apartment, and it's loud in the living room because I live right by a street. So noise is one of my pet peeves. So I've got kind of like 2 doors. This is on the other side of a bathroom. So I've got 2 doors that block out the noise, which helps a little bit. And it's big enough for my standing desk and things. So yeah, I am in a closet, but I've created the environment that I need to be productive. And also, like, I've been actively working on productivity and focus and like optimizing my body and mind for the last 60 days. And that's made a huge impact on productivity. So I do a lot of different things, that just these lots of little micro habits that I built into my day, because once you start to make some money and you're making enough to pay all your expenses and you're pretty comfortable, it starts to become really clear to you that, especially if you're like me, I'm basically my whole business. Whenever I'm not working, or whenever my brain's not working or something, like I have brain fog, then that's bad. That's really bad. I need to be, if I'm, as long as I'm not feeling sick or whatever, if I have time to focus and I can't focus, that's not good. So one of the things I do is I take Qualia for brain fog. I've been optimizing my sleep. So I sleep with like a sleep mask. I take melatonin 30 minutes before bed to help me just sleep, because I can just stay awake in bed for like 3 hours, and that's not good because I wake up sleepy or tired. And I have white noise that I play because of the road nearby. I have these little orange glasses. So like when I take my melatonin at night, I pop these on about 30 minutes before bed too, to kind of, whatever, according to the sales page of these, it kind of helps your body come down and adjust from all the blue light. And these glasses supposedly like block blue light. So, I spend most of my time on the computer, which is probably why I can't sleep very well when I try to go to bed. So I've optimized my sleep, and then the Qualia for focus has significantly helped productivity, because yeah, I used to have brain fog and things. I guess I didn't even know that was a thing until like 2 years ago. So I guess I had it, and now I don't. And so every day, ever since I started taking Qualia consistently, it's just clarity and focus all day long. So that's pretty awesome, because I remember there were only a handful of days in a regular year without taking something like Qualia that would happen. Those are the best days ever, because I'd wake up, I'd just be clear-headed, I could focus, ideas would just come to me, whatever good things would happen throughout the day randomly, because you just feel good. But now every day I feel good. And I changed my diet. So optimizing my body on like what I eat, when I eat it, because I need to be able to just stay alert. So, the quality helps with brain, but if I'm sleepy while I'm working because I just ate a steak, that's not good. My body's like digesting it, and I'm like, I can't focus, I'm sleepy, I'm trying to make a video. Like, so I optimize when I eat throughout the day, and I fast and things like that. And so, yeah, that's helped significantly with focus. So, which is crazy important. And it's funny because I don't, of my entrepreneur buddies that I've seen do interviews this year, they're all saying the same things. If you listen and kind of read between the lines of what their core message is, of all the interviews that you see from, I mean, all the people probably in the ClickFunnels dream car winners, all the stuff that are all being interviewed, they're all saying, take lots of action and focus, 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 focus. Like, don't get distracted. Action, action, action. Um, that's the secret. Take a lot of action and try to stay focused on one thing. You need to get that initial traction some way, and then you can use all those profits to go into other things. But you're never gonna, every time you stretch yourself between 5, 10, 20 different products, imagine you've got like 100% of energy. Each time you stretch yourself between another thing, you don't wind up with a even 100%, like 10%, 10%, 10%, because you lose a couple of percentages by switching and multitasking. So like if you had 3 things, in theory, it would be like 33, 33, 33%, but it's more like maybe 40, 40, and then 20% just gets lost because you're switching between tasks. So that's another thing that's I've been refining too in the last 60 days or something. So the diet and quality and stuff has helped me to focus my body and mind, but I've been stop working on like 100 different projects, and like I've still got several, but there's 1 or 2 main projects, and I try to spend the majority of my time scaling up those. And surprisingly enough, once I did that, my income has started to grow again. Like, it's amazing what happens when you actually focus, and like once I hit 5 figures a couple of years ago, I haven't dipped below that since, so that's cool, but it also hasn't grown significantly in the last year. So I've just maintained it, which is great, but I haven't, I should be way farther than I am right now, but I'm not, or I haven't gotten there because I've just been like putting out fires and just been busy and not productive, just busy. And that's not been good for, scaling my income. So, yeah, just try to focus on that one. You got to find that thing first, and then focus on that 1 or 2 things that are producing the most results. Yep.
Yeah, that's my goal is it's just I'm focusing on ClickFunnels as well as an affiliate. There's tons of other products that I love and I would love to promote, but I've made the decision to focus on ClickFunnels. And some other people have asked me the same thing. Oh, what do you think about this new thing? Or, is it worth it? I'm like, well, it depends on what your goal is. What is your goal? Go back to that one thing, right?
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you, okay. Before I let you go, because I've taken a lot of your time and really appreciate you. So you shared with me behind the scenes as well that, okay, you've made that dream car winner. We actually haven't touched ClickFunnels and really pushed it in the last 2 years without, I know I don't want to have you give away everything, but what would you do differently? And I know you are thinking about, going back and really pushing it again. What would you do? Or, if someone, what would you do differently? Since I know you just said also some of your channels got suspended. Now, is there a different strategy that you'd be focusing on?
No, not really. I just got to kind of get back in the game and do more of what was already working. So I've pretty much kind of hinted on and shared through courses and interviews that I've been doing the last 2 years exactly what I would do and what I would recommend. Some people have taken a little action on those suggestions, but I'm just going to get back in the game and do exactly what was already working, which is focus on long tail keywords for some of the different angles that I've mentioned, and just really scaled up to what I know I can make with it. I don't know if I'd change anything if I had to go back and do it over again, but my course took a lot of time away from me, just with answering questions and that people have from going through it. So, but if I was to go back, if I didn't have my course, if I didn't create that 2 years ago, it probably would have been smart to just keep doing what I was doing, just make a lot more videos, make a lot more content. And I know I could have been way past 100K a month by now with just ClickFunnels. So I would have been making way more money with way less stress. And anybody can do it because I've already told them how.
Yeah. I love the course. You guys, if you want the course, you can see the description below. It's SEO affiliate domination. I've actually taken several of his courses before he refined it to what it is now. So I really love it. Do you think someone who's brand new though needs, one of the things I want to give away is actually I have some of the basic stuff of building a website. Do they need to be a little bit more advanced to build their own WordPress before they get into SEO domination and stuff?
I tried to. It's kind of the challenge I tried to kind of address was I wanted it to be something that would be beginners could use it, people that have some experience could use it, and then people that were more advanced, they could take what they need from it, but without being bored by having be a watered down course. You're definitely gonna get traction faster if you have some experience, but I cover the basics in there and how to connect domains to hosting and stuff. But so if you are a beginner, there's just going to be a little bit more of a learning curve on the front end. Like it's nothing that you can't do, because I've heard, and I was wondering about that, but I've had several people that have made their money back that literally, like, my course was their first course to ever take ever. So I know if they can do it, it's possible.
Yeah.
So this kind of comes down to motivation, I guess. And, I have a Facebook group. So if you have any questions, you can get those questions answered. So, I made this for any level of person. But, there's, just keep in mind, like I learned this stuff over the course of like 10 years, piece by piece. So it took, I had quite a bit of time to digest and process this information, but I'm literally just giving you all the answers to the tests. So you just have to kind of take my word for it if you're brand new. And then again, you can learn the rest by taking action and experience and stuff. But yeah, it's one of the people, the first person that made their money back, they had some experience, but I asked him, how did you make your money back so quickly or whatever? He said, I literally just did what you said and I didn't question it. And then I got results, and then I went back and figured out why. So, and the same thing with one of my other marketing friends who has plenty of experience. And he was like, man, I was really tempted to take your suggestions and then do it my way. But he's like, he laid it out like this for a reason. So he followed exactly what I said. And then within at least, at least 90 days, I think, he had already made $5,000 or more or something. Now he put in a little bit of money for websites and stuff, so he didn't start with $0. But he's like, I just literally, he was like, it took a lot of discipline, but I followed everything you said. I didn't waver from that, and it worked. So I guess it works.
Awesome. Thanks for being on this interview, guys. If you want to learn more, you can find the link in the description. I don't promote anything that I haven't gone through myself, you guys. It's very actionable. At the end of each module, there's homework. Go and do it and make it happen. All right. Thanks for watching. Much love and aloha.